Today I'm going to teach you how to make our Full Tummy online seafood short course. First job is to do our basil pesto. So I've just got a food processor here. Got our washed, picked basil straight into your machine. Garlic clove. We have half a cup of roasted macadamia nuts. In my recipe you can also use pine nuts, which I quite commonly use, but today I'm going to mix it up a little bit and use macadamia nuts. So if you roast them off lightly in the oven, and what I do is just chop them up a little bit so they get mixed properly through the pesto. So first thing, I've got the garlic and the basil leaves in there, and we want to just break that up. So once your leaves are broken up, macadamia nuts or pine nuts, Parmesan cheese. You can do shredded or shaved. Now, next step is quite important, and the reason I teach this is because every bunch of basil is a different size. Some sizes you get large bunches and small. So the key to this is when I start adding my olive oil into the pesto, you're going to start seeing the paste start forming up the side of the bowl. And when the whole mix is turning in one direction, it's enough olive oil. So just watch the bottom. Always use a good quality olive oil as well. Step though is you need to season your pesto to taste. So I have half a cheek of lemon. Squeeze that in. If you have any seeds in the lemon, just squeeze it through your fingers. A little bit of sea salt. Now only put a little bit in at a time, because if you over season it, you're going to have to add more ingredients to fix it. Bit of cracked pepper. So there you have it. There's our Full Tummy basil pesto. Our next step is to do our marinating of our seafood. Now the key to Full Tummy mini cooking courses is to do your bulk prep first. So we've got our basil pesto in the fridge, which is going to save us heaps of time. Next step is our marinades for our seafood. Before you touch any seafood, the goal is to get all your marinades done first. So when you touch your seafood, you can do it all at once. So first job is we're going to do our marinade for our chili prawns. So we just grab a bowl. Got some freshly washed coriander here. When you're using a knife, make sure you've got a firm grip of the blade. Fingers on top. I'm using this part of the knife. I'm just going to chop it up. Just a rough chop. Straight into a bowl. Chili. This is a lovely fresh chili. Just cut it in half. Half again. Quarters. We're just doing a rough chop. If you like chili, you can add some more, of course. But remember, there's going to be chili in the sauce as well. Really important when you're scraping a knife on a board, just to angle it. Don't ever do that, otherwise you're going to blunt your knife. Fresh garlic. If you've got a large clove like this, we can chop it in half. Put on your board, put your blade facing away from you, and just hit it. If you're left-handed, your blade will be like that. Again, hit it. If you decide to use garlic puree and using one clove, you can also use 1 teaspoon of garlic. Okay, straight in. A little bit of olive oil. And what we're going to do is just give that a quick mix. That's our marinade done for our prawns. Now onto our marinades for our tuna and salmon. So you get some rosemary sprigs. Rosemary's beautiful with seafood. Just grab the tip of your rosemary stalk and pull it down, and that's the easiest way to get it off. So you don't need too much of this because it's quite strong. So just pick a few bits in, like so. Again, we've got a garlic clove, half, So we're going to do half for each one. So half in each one. Again, you want to put a little bit of olive oil in there. Now, if you've got people that you're serving fish to and they're a bit worried about a fishy flavour, if you put a little bit of lemon zest, just the zest only, into the marinades, that'll help cut the fishy flavour and allow people who don't like seafood to enjoy it a little bit more. So a little bit of olive oil, like so. Now I've got my fish here, which I've prepared earlier. This is our tuna steak. That just goes in and just mix it around to one side. And we've got our salmon here. Try and leave the skin on as much as you can. So just a quick tip with your salmon. Notice how it goes into a thin base there. If you cook this part's going to cook first and dry out, and this part's going to be raw. So what you can do is just trim it so it's a nice clean piece. Like I said, leave your skin on, and again, just put in your marinade and mix it around. We're going to put those in the fridge, and next step we're going to get onto our prawns. Onto our prawns now. I've got a container here for my shells. I've got a little container of water with my knife for when we take the vein out, and we've got our marinade. So it's good to keep your shells as much as you can, because you can use the shells to make a seafood stock, and that seafood stock you can use to make risottos, soups and so forth. So first thing, you take the head off, get your fingernail underneath and just peel that shell right off to the tail, pull the legs off and just slip that tail off. Now what I do first is just put your prawns on the bench for now, and peel all your prawns first and then come back and take the vein out, because you don't want to start peeling, taking the vein out, peeling, because removing the vein is quite messy, so you want to leave that job to the end. So the vein runs along the back of the prawn, and you do want to remove this. Get your knife, just run the knife around the prawn, just pick your vein up with your knife and pull it out. So the beauty of having this little container of water here is when you do get the vein out, you can just wash your knife off in here, and it saves you bursting the vein, and it removes the mess from your knife into there. So once you've got your prawn, straight into the marinade. So as you can see, it's quite easy. What we've got here is our pot of water for our linguine. Now this is a really cool trick when you cook pasta. What I do is get half a lemon, squeeze it in, and chuck the whole lemon in. And then a little bit of sea salt, and let that come to the boil. The reason why I use the lemon juice is it allows the sauce to stick to the pasta when you're eating it, and another thing it does is it preserves the pasta so it lasts a little bit longer in your fridge instead of using olive oil. And don't worry, when you do cool the pasta down with cold water, when you drain it, the pasta doesn't stick together, it doesn't blow. Next job we can do just before we do our plate up is blanching and refreshing of our beans and asparagus. All we do with blanching and refreshing is a little pot of boiling salted water and a container of ice water. And the goal here is to shock the colour and the nutrients and the flavour of the vegetables with the hot water, and then we're going to cool it down instantly in the ice water. So our first one is our beans, straight into your water. Now beans only need to be in there for a maximum of a minute, straight from here into the ice water. Always do every other vegetable first before you do asparagus. If we did asparagus right now and we put our beans in, the beans would taste like asparagus. You can blanch anything, carrots, cauliflower, bok choy, anything you like, but just for today we're doing our beans and asparagus. Beans have been in there for a minute, straight into your ice water. Really important to leave the beans in there for a good 1 to 2 minutes, because people think that as soon as they hit the cold water they're cooled down, but the water needs to penetrate inside the bean. Asparagus goes straight in. Now asparagus is so delicate, it only really needs to be in there for a maximum of 30 seconds. Essentially in and out. Time for service. So the first thing we can start looking at doing is get our salmon seared and in the oven. So we get our salmon here, which is in the marinade. So you just pick it up, skin side down on a plate. Now this plate, I've put salt and pepper on the plate. It's very important that you always season your seafood, meat, chicken, whatever you're cooking before you cook it. Brings out the flavours. So I've got it skin side down, and just turn it over and season on the top. I've got a smoking hot fry pan here sitting in front of me, already preheated. So what we're going to do is skin side down, straight into the fry pan. Now there's no need to add more olive oil into the fry pan because there's enough oil on the fish which is in our marinade. So we're going to let that sit on that fry pan for a good 3 to 4 minutes and just let that skin sear nice and crispy. We're going to turn the salmon over, give it a quick sear on a tray, and we're going to finish it in the oven. By doing this, this retains the moisture and of the fish and the flavours. Salmon's been searing now for 3 to 4 minutes. You can see that lovely crust starting to form on the bottom. So you're going to turn it over, see that beautiful caramelisation of the skin. Now in the fry pan, just give it 30 seconds or so on the base, and then we're going to put on the tray lined with baking paper, and we're going to put the oven for 3 to 4 minutes and rest for 2. With our tuna, we've just seasoned it exactly like we did with our salmon. Now we just put a little bit of oil in this one, a little bit of olive oil, preheated pan, and the tuna is only cooked in your fry pan. So straight in. Tuna should always be served medium rare. If you overcook tuna, it's going to be rubbery and tasteless. So what I'm going to do is we're going to cook it for at least 1 minute to 2 minutes on each side, and we're taking it straight out. Now you'll see tuna cook quite quickly up the side here. You want to let that caramelise, get a little bit of flavour, and after 1 to 2 minutes I'm going to flip it over, leave it for a minute or so, or maybe 2, and then we're going to take it straight out and onto a plate to rest. On to our last dish is our chili garlic prawns. So a little bit of olive oil in your fry pan. Switch it around. Remember the tomato and the olive oil is going to be part of your sauce. So first thing we're going to do is saute our onions, garlic and chili. Now what I've done, same as the tuna and the salmon, I've set up a seasoning plate where I've seasoned the plate with salt and pepper. We've got our prawns on there, so they're good to go. What you can do is just put a little bit of salt on the top. So just give these onions and garlic and chili just a little bit of a quick saute, just to get the aromas of them out. Push them to one side. Okay, in our other corner, freshly diced tomatoes. It's a fantastic dish this, because it's a one pan dish. So once you've got your prep, really easy to put together. Push them to one side. Just let them cook away. Now we can introduce our prawns. Now this pasta here we're doing is for 2 people. The salmon and tuna we did before was for 1 portion only. So I just wanted to, otherwise you've got quite a lot of prawns here for 1 person. Get the prawns in. Pushing to one side, give yourself a bit more space. Now with any protein, as you saw for the tuna and the salmon, imperative to let it sit for a good 1 to 2 minutes.